Greetings, this is Doc Ock coming at you live and direct from Black Facts headquarters Central tonight with another installment of Doc Ock at noon and 9. Hope you had a good day today and are feeling real fine and haven't started drinking no wine, because we want you to have your full faculties as you listen to these words that please and try to relieve a little stress. We want to try to ease your mind and help you find your real self. Absolutely. So let's start off with the necessary tasks we need to do every evening. Number one, if you're watching on Facebook, give us a like. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. Then go ahead and let people know. Spread the word far and wide as to what we're doing over here on Black Facts, on the Tubular Black Facts channel. So let's start off with some words of wisdom from the man himself, Marcus Garvey, for whom we are celebrating all month, celebrating his birth all month, the 134th birthday of Marcus Mosiah Garvey. And so we have here, chance has never yet satisfied the hope of a suffering people. Chance has never yet satisfied the hope of a suffering people. And that's straight out of the philosophy and opinions of Marcus Garvey. Now, yesterday evening, we started off doing something a little different. We began to read from a new book, which is Blake, The Huts of America. And this one was written by an earlier proponent of black nationalism by the name of Martin R. Delany, Dr. Martin R. Delany, Major Martin R. Delany, however you want to describe him. But he was definitely a man of substance, a Renaissance man as well. He studied science. He went to Harvard University. He served in the Civil War as a doctor, but he also led a movement to allow or help black people on this side of the water return to Africa in their minds, our hearts, and physically as well. And so he led an expedition up the Niger River. Right. He was serious about this. He didn't have no time to joke around. He was not playing. Okay, the man was not playing. So we're going to read from his novel called Blake, or The Huts of America. And we're going to just pick up where we left off last night. Let's see. This is set in the antebellum South. So it's set in the days when the days of slavery. And we might start a little bit further back just to refresh where we left off at yesterday. All right, so here we go. Blake, or The Huts of America by Martin R. Delany. And this is a lot of this is dialogue between a colonel in the army and some of the people at his home. Then I must hereafter be disrespected by our own slaves? You know, Colonel, that I gave my word to Henry, her husband, your most worthy servant, that his wife should be here on his return. He had some misgiving that she was to be taken to Cuba before his return, when I assured him that she should be here. How can I bear to meet this poor creature who places every confidence in what we tell him? He'll surely be frantic. Nonsense, cousin, nonsense, sneered Mrs. Ballard. Frantic indeed. Why, you speak of your Negro slaves as if speaking of equals. Make him know that whatever you order, he must be contented with. I'll soon settle the matter with him, should he dare show any feelings about it, interposed Franks. When do you look for him, Maria? I'm sure, Colonel, you know more about the matter than I do. Immediately after you left, he took the horses to Baton Rouge, where at the last accounts he was waiting the conclusion of the races. Judge Dilbreth had entered them according to your request, one horse for each day's race or races. I took for him every day. I look for him every day. Then there are more than him to reconcile. There's old Mammy Judy, who will run mad about her. You know, Colonel, she thought so much of her that she might be treated tenderly. The old creature gave up her situation in the house as nurse and foster mother to our children, going into the kitchen to do the harder work. Well, my dear, we'll detain your cousin till he comes. I'll telegraph the judge that if not yet left, to start him home immediately. Colonel, that will be still worse, to let him witness her departure. I would much rather she'd leave before his reign. She sighed. Then she may go, replied he. And what of poor old Mammy and his boy? I'll soon settle the matter with old Judy. Mrs. Franks, looking him imploringly in the face, let drop her head, burying her face in the palms of her hands. Soon it was found necessary to place her under the care of a physician. Old Mammy beckoned her daughter, where both stood in breathless silence, catching every word that passed. At the conclusion, Mammy, clasping her hands, exclaimed in suppressed tones, "Oh, Mammy, what shall I do? Oh, is there no hope for me? Can't you beg, massa? Can't you save poor me?" Look to the Lord, my child. Him only be able to bring you out more. What? More than conquer. What kind of word is that? Oh, look to the Lord, my child. Him only be able to bring you out more than conquer. Was the prayerful advice of the woe-stricken old Mammy. Both hastening into the kitchen, falling upon their knees, invoked aloud the God of the oppressed. Hearing in that direction an unusual noise, Franks hastened past the kitchen door, dropping his head and clearing his throat as he went along. This brought the slaves to an ordinary mood, who trembled at his approach. Departure of Maggie. The country seat of Franks, or the great house of the cotton plantation, was but a short distance from the city. Mrs. Franks, by the advice of her physician, was removed there to avoid the disturbance of the town, when at the same time Mrs. Ballard left with her slave Maggie en route for Baltimore, whither she designed leaving her until ready to sail for Cuba. Farewell, my child, farewell. May God Almighty be with you, were the parting words of the poor old slave, who with streaming eyes gazed upon her parting child for the last time. Oh, Mammy, can't you save poor me? Oh, Lord, what shall I do? Oh, my husband, oh, my poor child, oh, my, oh, me, oh, my, oh, me, were the only words the sounds of which died upon the breeze, as the cab hastily bore her to a steamer then lying at the wharf. This is chapter 4, by the way. Departure of Maggie. Poor old Mammy Judy sat at the kitchen door with elbows resting upon her knee, side of the face resting in the palm of the hand, tears streaming down with a rocking motion, noticing nothing about her, but in sorrow moaning just distinctly enough to be understood. Po me, po me, po me. The sight was enough to move the heart of anyone, and it so affected Franks that he wished he had never owned a Negro. Daddy Joe, the husband of Mammy Judy, was a field hand on the cotton place, visiting his wife at the town residence every Saturday night. Colonel Franks was a fine, grave, senatorial-looking man of medium height, inclined to corpulency. black hair, slightly gray, and regarded by his slaves as a good massa, and religiously as one of the best of men. On their arrival at the great house, those working nearest gathered around the carriage, among whom was Daddy Joe. "What a matter with missus?" was the general inquiry of the gang. "Your missus is sick, boys," replied the master. "Massa, what's Margot? Where's Margot?" inquired the old man on seeing his mistress carried into the house without the attendance of her favorite maidservant. "She's in town," replied Franks. "How's Judy, sir?" "Judy is well, thank you, sir," politely concluded the old man with a bow, turning away in the direction of his work with a countenance expressive of anything but satisfaction from the interview. The slaves, from their condition, are suspicious. Any evasion or seeming design at suppressing the information sought by them frequently arouses their greatest apprehension. Not unfrequently, the mere countenance, a look, a word, or laugh of the master is an unerring foreboding of misfortune to the slave. Ever on the watch for these things, they learn to read them with astonishing precision. This day was Friday, and the old slave consoled himself with the thought that on the next evening he would be able to see and know for himself the true state of things about his master's residence in town. The few hours intervening were spent with great anxiety, which was even observed by his fellow slaves. At last came Saturday evening, and with it immediately after sunset, Daddy Joe made his appearance at the hall door of the great house, tarrying only long enough to inquire, "How's missus?" and received the reply, "She better," when a few moments found him quite out of sight, striding his way down the lane toward the road to the city. The sudden and unexpected fate of Maggie had been noised among the slaves throughout the entire neighborhood, many who had the opportunity of doing so repairing to the house to learn the facts for themselves. In the lower part of the town, bordering on the river, there is a depot or receptacle for the slave gangs brought by professional traders. This part of the town is known as Natchez under the Hill. It is customary among the slaves, when any of their number are sold, to say that they are gone under the hill. And their common salutation through the day was that Frank's Mag had gone under the hill. As with quickened steps, Daddy Joe approached the town, his most fearful apprehensions became terribly realized when meeting a slave who informed him that Margot had gone under the hill. Falling upon his knees in the fence corner, the old man raised his voice in supplication of divine aid. O Lord, thou hast promised in thine own word to be a father to the fatherless and a husband to the widow. O Lord, let thy word run and be glorified. Soften the hard heart of the oppressor and let my poor child come back. And stop that noise there, old nigger, ordered a patrol approaching him. Whose boy are you? Servant, master, saluted the old slave. I belong to Colonel Frank, sir. Is this old Joe? This is me, Master Johnny. You'd better trudge along home then, as it's likely old Judy wants to see you about this time. Thank you, sir, replied the old man with a bow, feeling grateful that he was permitted to proceed. Devilish good, religious old Negro, he remarked to his associates as the old man left them in the road. A few minutes more and Daddy Joe entered the kitchen door at his master's residence. Mammy Judy, on seeing him, gave vent afresh to a bitter wailing when the emotion became painfully mutual. "Oh, husband, only poor child is gone, exclaimed the old woman, clasping him around the neck. Lord, Lord, thy will be done, exclaimed he. Old woman, look to the Lord as he am sufficient for all things. Oh, as he am sufficient for all things. Both of them falling on their knees, breathed in silence their desires to God. How long, oh Lord, how long? Was the supplicating cry of the old woman, being overcome with devotion and sorrow, taking the little grandchild in his arms. Poor child, said the old man, I wish you had never been born, impressing upon it kisses whilst it slept. After a fervent and earnest prayer to God for protection to themselves, little grandson Joe, the return of his mother, the only child, and blessings upon their master and the recovery of their mistress. The poor old slaves retired to rest for the evening to forget their sorrows in the respite of sleep. So it may seem kind of odd that we're celebrating the birth of Marcus Mosiah Garvey by reading this story about slavery in the southern part of the United States. However, I thought it was appropriate because of the connection between Marcus Garvey and Martin R. Delany, in that being that Martin R. Delany also had this idea of black folks returning to Africa, but unlike Marcus Garvey, Delany actually made it to Africa and set up put some people in place, took people with him, left people in place in Africa. So this connection, I thought would be made it appropriate to go ahead and read from his novel and see what kind of thoughts he had about slavery and juxtapose them with Marcus Garvey's thoughts about freedom, since Marcus Garvey had never been a slave. And apparently I think his people had been free for a while as well, if I remember his bio properly. So at any rate, we're going to be reading from this book for a little bit, and we may go to another book before the end of the month, but we will be reading from it again, and we hope that you will get some pleasure, enjoyment, and maybe even a little edification from the process of reading from the book. Blake, or The Huts of America, is the book we're reading from right now. So with that, I will say good evening, Tutal Nana. In other words, we'll see you again later. To all of those that are out there watching in Tubular Black Facts land, we see Tanisha Ezel out there. And we saw somebody else a little bit earlier, Brian Van Tassel. We saw Brian out there as well. So we say good evening to both of y'all and everybody else that's out there as we go ahead and transition to our extra, because we are about to make an exit stage right after we give you a friendly reminder of what y'all need to do right about now, which is, first of all, give us a like if you're watching on Facebook, a thumbs up if you're watching on the tube, and then go ahead and subscribe to the Tubular Black Facts channel below. And for all you chillins out there, you already know what you need to do. Just lay that little head on your little pillow, on your little bed to close those your eyes while you wait on that sun to rise. And when you feel those sunbeams beaming down on your eyes, you'll know that it's time for you to rise and shine and greet a whole new day as a thing divine. Peace out without a doubt, of course, with justice, because anything less disgusts us. And we don't like being discussed. We like being discussed, just not disgusted. Peace out now.